I started now contemplating suicide. And since my bed was next to the window, and those windows at the hospital, so I decided now the only way to do it was to throw myself through the window, so that by the time I reached the ground, I'd be no more. But still, something was clicking in my mind. What if? That was the question in my mind. What if you throw yourself, then there's an obstacle? Maybe there's a roof next to the window. You won't reach down. What damage? What damage will you have caused yourself more than what you have? So I stepped back and I was trying to figure out now the best way to do it. I can say that's the time I usually say God sent someone. In the hospital, we had another patient who was my friend, who used to help me move around. As you know, I was not seeing. And this guy, at around 2 a.m., we are having a discussion. And this guy told that, Dan, I wish I could be. And, to me, maybe this guy is going crazy. And, I depend on this guy to help me. So I was even worried when he told me those words. So I went ahead and asked why he was saying so. And he was so honest. He told me, Dan, you are not seeing, disfigured, you have scars, but one thing he was sure is that I could come out of that hospital alive. For him, he never knew his fate. Okay, he died, but I'd say this is the turning point. To me, I can say it's a God sent. He was sent to me to just save my life. I just need, at that time, just wanted someone who can tell me, okay, Dan, you are worth living. You are worth living. You are good. And God used this guy just tell me those words. Because I never wanted to hear it from my family members or from my close friends. I just wanted to hear it from someone who is not close to me, someone who is stranger, just to tell me those words. And God used this guy.
I'm disabled. I'm not able to get in touch.
To tell me to change my life. So that time, I changed even my prayer, and I reconciled myself and repented, because I come from a Christian background. And I changed my prayer now to pray to God to get me out of that hospital. And indeed, in 2014 February, I was discharged from a fair condition, whereby after the discharge, I was given a nurse. I was allocated a nurse who also was coming to the house to take care of the wounds for another 6 months. Then after that time, after 6 months, I was also admitted back to the hospital at the Nairobi West Hospital. I underwent these 3 surgeries, including one to try and reopen my nostril. I still have a nostril. So they did the surgery at Nairobi West Hospital. It was not successful. I was admitted to Kenyatta National Hospital. They did the same surgery. It was not successful. And now in 2019, I went to US for the same surgery to open the blocked nostril as the plastic surgery. So they did the first stage, and they told me that I have to undergo at least 6 surgeries on the same nose for it to be fully unblocked, fully opened. So to me, I can say I've seen God's hand throughout the journey. And when I was discharged in the hospital from the Kenyatta National Hospital, I was referred to the Kenya Center for the Blind for rehabilitation. And during the time I was rehabilitated, I was so bitter with life. And at that time, I was just thinking of revenge. But I realized that I was suffering a lot, trying to think of revenge. It was hurting me a lot. And one day, through counseling and through prayer, I prayed and asked God to help me to let it go. And one day, I woke up and I told myself, from today, I'll just forgive. So I woke up and I called my ex-wife and I told her, whatever you did to me, I've forgiven you and I've left it. So nimekuachia tu Mungu. And I can tell you, from the moment those words came out of my mouth, when I felt some change. In fact, I felt like healing, the pain I was feeling in Isha, and I felt some peace. And that's why I usually tell people the power in forgiveness. Because many of us, we suffer more when we keep people in our hearts, in our heart. You keep someone in your heart, so it affects you. You don't affect the people. Because when you think of revenge, it will only hurt you. Those people you are thinking of revenge, they don't know what you are planning, what you are thinking of, so it's hard to know. So sometimes it's always good to let it go in order for you to grow. So me, myself, the energy I've been using to try and figure out things revenge, I may use the same energy to save someone's life and to grow myself. After rehabilitation, now people started. It started with Kenyatta National Hospital, whereby they were calling me to go and talk to the patients because some of the patients were giving up. So they used to refuse to take medicine treatment, so they were giving up. So I started going to the hospital to talk to the people. At the same time, now people started reaching out to me. After me coming out and sharing what happened, now people started reaching out to me and talk to their loved ones about, because many people knew of their loved ones who are experiencing violence, maybe in their marriage or relationship. They were stuck, so they never knew how to come out of it or how to handle this. And those are men who are suffering. So people started reaching to me. So I started now going to homes to talk to the men who are suffering. So that's how we started. And then at one point I felt that now I'm getting tired. And okay, my aim was to help men, but I felt that I was concentrating on men within Nairobi. So that's when I decided to register an organization, Chiche Foundation, just to reach many people across the country. Because I knew many men were suffering, many were reaching out to me. So I just wanted to reach out to men across the country. By Dancious Foundation, we are creating a safe space whereby men can come out and speak up. They can come, find somebody who can listen to them and ready to help. Because I realized that many men opt to suffer, choose to suffer in silence because they don't have that safe space. That's someone who can listen to their issues, who can empathize with what I'm going through and offer a helping hand. So that's what the Anshisha Foundation is doing. Because in our society, when you talk of domestic violence, there's a perception whereby men have been labeled as perpetrators. But when the same society does not accept that men also victims of domestic violence. So when a man comes out and cries to the people, uh, they now they stigmatize against, they laugh at him, whereby now anaulizwa maswali like you are not a man enough, a man as a man you don't need to cry. So such imefanya men don't want to come out and share what they are experiencing. And that's what the Anshisha Foundation, we are trying to fill those gaps and encouraging men to speak. Because to me I feel and I know my visible scars represents many invisible scars of abuse that men are suffering out there. I believe that my voice can speak to those men. So that's what we.
Good. Asante sana, our guest, our brother Dan. We are so grateful for sharing your story. Indeed, a sad story. And it's true, what you have taken us through must have been very traumatizing. At this time, I want to take it to our facilitator, who will help us to interact with that story that our guest has shared. And we try now to bring it closer to us in our own context, as we also maybe open it up for our guest to answer maybe one or two questions that could be there. And therefore, if you have any question that you may want our guest to answer, kindly feel free to write your question on the chat box, and we will be forwarding those questions to our guest. And at this time, let me ask you, Reverend Dedan, why does domestic violence or domestic abuse continue? Why does it continue?
Thank you very much, Pastor. That was a very, very touching testimony from Dan. Thank you for being courageous enough to share with us and to tell us what happened, how that abuse happened in your life. I got most of what you were saying, although it was cutting. And I heard you say that you are a policeman and you got into, I don't know what caused the fight or why your wife did what she did to you, because you said she poured sulfuric acid on you, on your face, and she even wanted to kill you by electrocuting you. That's what I heard you say. I don't know whether this is something that was going on for some time or what happened. I heard you say that you lost your baby, but I didn't get the connection. Could you just tell us before I answer what Pastor has asked me, why this abuse goes on and on? Dan.
Thank you so much, Pastor. To me, we were having normal conflicts. I can say normal, but now after understanding the domestic violence, there's nothing like normal. So 2 weeks after the burial, my ex told me that he had been advised that we needed to have another kid so that maybe we may heal from the loss, from that trauma. But to me, I was so turned. In fact, I wasn't ready. Not because it was that idea, but because me, I felt that we were being controlled by the external other people. People were coming to influence our decision. Like we are married, we are being controlled by other people. So that's something I'm avoiding.
Okay, thank you, Dan.
Yes.
Thank you, Dan. I've heard and I understand what you're saying, that it's like other people were trying to get into your family. They were trying to influence what you're going to do. Your wife wanted another child immediately, but you are not ready for that immediately. You wanted to heal fast and then maybe you could go on. And she got very mad, she got very angry, and that is why she decided to do this. Thank you. Now, to answer what Pastor has asked me, why does it go on? We need to understand that domestic abuse is something that goes on and on and on. It happens and we let it continue. This is something, maybe it's the husband beating the wife. The husband beats the wife, and then he says sorry. He comes and gives flowers or says something good and asks for forgiveness. And the offended party accepts it. And so it is a cycle. And then later on, the same abuse happens again. The husband or the wife beats that person. So as you have told us in your case, Dan, this is something that seems to have been going on for quite some time. You were fighting. You said there were those natural and normal family fights that happen. Yes, they happen, but then it comes now to a place where it becomes too much. So one of the things that makes this abuse to continue is because the person who is being abused believes that this is going to end. This person, I am just going to wait and wait, and maybe he is going to just change. That is one of the reasons. The other reason is what we are taught, and I know we do that all the time, wherever we are, in the churches and in all our social gatherings. We encourage people to continue. We tell them, you are a Christian. You're supposed to vumilia, to withstand and just pray about this, and it is going to end. Yes, we believe in the Bible, and that's true. It can change, but we need to see what the limits are. There should be limits. So we continue praying. We continue, hoping that things are going to be different. Another thing that causes us to continue in this abuse is our culture. I don't know how your culture affected your wife in doing what she did, or your culture. I guess you're from Kisii. what your culture says about just staying in that marriage, because many cultures have sayings. They just say, in our Kikuyu culture, we say the wife should just keep quiet. The wife is just to bottle up and to absorb things as they come. Our culture, we say men are like that. You know, there is no cock or cockerel that has only one what? Are we together?
Yes, one hand.
One cheek.
One cheek.
Thank you for your response. So these are cultural things that we believe. They have been put in us. They have been put in our psyche, that we think the way things are supposed to be that way. Women are supposed to be beaten. Men are supposed to be treated in this way or in that way. And when we have all these things, uh, they bring that issue of us staying like that, and we just want to continue in that. We hope things are going to change. We hope that something is going to happen. But we need to know that things have got to come to an end. And I know as we are going on with this discussion, we are going to say, how then do we help someone who is going in this kind of a situation? But it is also good to know that we need to make a decision, because yes, God hates divorce. But then how much are we going to stay there? Are we going to stay there until we die? Of course, the answer is no. Pastor?
Thank you, Reverend Dedan. Actually, it's one of the questions that came in. I was just about to ask you, but there is one that is also a question directed to our guest, our brother Dan. There's a question asking, how did it go now with your wife? Did you reconcile? Yes, you called her and you told her that I have forgiven you. How did it go with the law? You know, that was a crime. How did it go? Where are you at? Yes, Dan, tell us.
Thank you so much. She did this. She ran away. Then 2 days later, she surrendered to the police. She was charged with attempted murder. So the case is still pending before court, almost 8 years down the line. Okay, as the case is still pending before court, so I chose just to form so that the rest lead to God. So we have not we have never thought we can still come and stay together, because me, God saved my life, because for her she wanted to kill me. So I can't get her back to my life.
Okay, Dan. Thank you so much for clearing that. And we continue to pray that God will continue to encourage you. Reverend Dedan, another question. How can we help victims, people like our brother Dan, who have gone through domestic abuse, and maybe many others out there, some who could be listening to us? How can we help such individuals, brothers and sisters, who have gone through, who have experienced domestic abuse?
Thank you, Pastor. There are two periods here: the time that the person is going through the abuse, and then there is the post-abuse period. Let's talk about first when a person is in that abusive situation.
Reverend, is your internet okay? Seem to be dropping. Looks like Reverend Dedan has encountered challenges with his connection. Are you back, Reverend?
Okay, sorry, I'm back.
Unmute yourself, please.
Hello,
Yes, please. Unmute yourself.
can you hear me, Pastor?
You're
Can you hear
muted.
me?
Oh, yes, yes, go ahead. Unmute yourself, Reverend. Ladies and gentlemen, seems like our facilitator is facing connection challenges. Reverend, you can hear us. Unmute yourself, please.
Sorry,
Yes.
sorry for that.
Yes.
Sorry. I don't know what happened.
Mm.
But we were saying that we are talking about men being being abused. Maybe your wife beats you, because we know that there are women who physically beat men. And the testimony that we have just received from Dan, it is a physical abuse. Dan his eyesight was taken away from him. The wife even wanted him dead. So this is a physical thing, and it happens. So maybe when someone is in that kind of a situation and they come for help, then we need to listen to this person who is abused. In the case of Dan needed to have been listened to, either by his pastor, his friends, people he trusts, just going and sharing with these people, telling people, hey, this is what is happening to me. But we are Africans, and we men have issues with opening up about the things that we are going through. Very few men will talk about the problems they are going through in their families. Very few men will talk about the difficulties they have, even the challenges they are going through at their place of work. Very few men will talk about it. But women always talk about it all the time. They are talking about it. And so they get helped much more easily. But for us men, I think this is a culture that God will help us change, so that we are able to talk. We are able to express ourselves. We are able to pour our hearts to people that we trust, to our friends, to our spiritual leaders, our pastors, or whoever is above us. We need to talk out. So that's one way of helping someone who is in this situation. They need to be listened to, and they need to be affirmed, and to be assured that what you are going through is not your fault. Maybe it's not your fault. And of course, it is never the fault of the victim. It's not because of anything you have done that you're being beaten. No, it is just because this person is abusive. So we need to also affirm people, talk to them. And as we are talking to them, we need to know, ask this question: why are you continuing in this situation? Why are you still in this marriage if you're being beaten every day? Why are you still in this place if this is what is happening to you? We need to talk and put things the way they are supposed to be. Some will say, I'm here because I have nowhere else to go. I am still here because he's the provider, he's the breadwinner, and such a thing. So we need to know, and then of course see how those things can be sorted out, because many people fear living. Of course, we don't just encourage people to live, but a time will come that they have to live. And another thing is to help these people is talk to them individually. Many times we are using to calling a couple together and talking with them as a couple. That is good at a later stage, but at this time of abuse, you need to listen to the story of the victim, the person who is being abused. You need to listen to that person alone so that you get their side of the story. Of course, tell me the dangers of talking to them together. And then the other thing is, we need to help this person put some boundaries and draw a line and say, if this happens, then this is what is going to happen. If you beat me again, then I'm going to call your parents. If you beat me again, I'm going to tell the pastor. If you beat me again, I'm going to go back to our place. We need to get to that and draw that line. Maybe they will respect that. And of course, when you are saying that, you need to have a plan for it. Because if you have told a person, the next time you beat me, I'll go. He beats you and you don't go. Do you think they'll take you serious? Of course they will not. They will not take you serious. They'll know you're just talking. But if you do it, then they'll see it serious and they will avoid doing it. So those are some of the things that we need to know so that we can be able to help someone who is in this, and then let them see how this abuse is affecting them. I wish Dan had that opportunity of discussing that situation because it seems that it really happened very fast. But I wish there was that situation where they could have talked about it, and Dan told his wife, this is the way I'm seeing things, and that kind of a thing. I'm not saying that things didn't happen the way they should have happened in Dan's case. No, I'm just trying to say, as we talk about how we can help someone who is in that situation, who is in that relationship presently. Pastor Jeremy.
So much, Reverend Dedan. We appreciate your candid explanation, and we are doing very okay. And looking at our clocks, we got around 10 minutes to go before we end our session. And Reverend Dedan, and together with our guest Dan, there are a few questions that I want to request you to respond to. Someone is asking our guest, our brother Dan, apart from the issues you have mentioned that caused the domestic abuse perpetrated on you, were there other issues, other underlying issues? Yes, along the way, as you told us, as you shared your story, you had mentioned about the fact that you were living apart, the fact that you experienced a loss of a baby that came with its own share of trauma that could have strained the marriage, and also the demand of the wife. You had also mentioned about external interferences. So were there other underlying issues that caused what you experienced? Karibu Dan.
Thank you so much. One other issue that usually don't share because those people who had the issue were not willing to come out and share it. I was told that my ex-wife that's something that I usually don't do it. And even after this had happened to me, there's a colleague of mine who was still following or who finished me in the hospital because when he came to the hospital had already been alerted that this guy is coming to this hospital, you need to take care. So when he came, we was told that, oh, okay, Dan has been taken to Kikuyu. So at that point, he went to Kikuyu, and at that time, nikawekewa security. While I was in the Kenyatta hospital, no one could, hakuna mtu anazuia apart from 2 people wenye walikuwa wamepeana majina zao. And even the colleague went on and went back to Kisii and said that nilikuwa nimekufa. So it's something that I usually don't want to dwell on. I believe I'm still, I'm not seeing. So I just left it at that point.
Okay, thank you, Dan. We appreciate your responses, and we thank God for continuing to be a present help for you, even when it comes to forgiveness and finding a way to continue, finding the resilience to continue, and also grace to forgive. Reverend Dedan, there is a question for you, and one of us, this is one of us who is asking, this is James Mwangi. He is asking, how can the abusers be helped? And I know that is the next thing you will be taking us through, but James has already asked, so I will let you to answer that when you are taking us through that part of how we can help the abusers. But maybe you can answer this one. How can we help people to come up? How can people not suffer in silence? What can we do to empower them so that they don't suffer in silence? And Kipto is asking, how can we ask them to come out and share their experiences of domestic abuse? Reverend.
Thank you very much, Pastor Jeremy. Those are very pertinent questions that people are asking, how we can help people come out. Because indeed, this is a cultural problem, something that we have grown with from childhood. We have been taught this way. You will realize that most of the problems that we have are because of culture, the way we grew believing, or the things that we were taught when we were small, or even some of the things that we are taught in church. They make us think and believe in a certain way. So, like even a few years ago, there was a certain big person, politician, who was beaten by his wife. And when he went to report that issue to the police station, it became a joke of the country. Everyone was joking about it. And people were saying, we cannot have this kind of a person as a leader, and yet he cannot be able to take care of his family. So there is a lot of stigma that comes on with the men expressing themselves, with the men speaking. Many people will perceive it as a weakness, but we need to know that it is not a weakness. It is not a weakness for men to express their emotion. It is not a weakness for men to express love or even fear. It is not a weakness for men to express pain, to cry. It's not a weakness. And maybe this will come with a lot of teaching, many teachings, a lot of teachings in churches and in other places. We need to know that it is okay to express ourselves, to speak what we feel. We will not be understood for some time, but sooner or later, it is happening in the West. The people of the West, the men are able to express themselves. I don't know whether it is fully, but they are able to express themselves. So we need, it is something that is going to take time. It is something that will take relearning and just changing our beliefs and our thought process.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Reverend. Indeed, that answer is adequate, that we need to empower our people more and to let them know that if they are suffering, they should not do that in silence, because help is available and it is not shameful to ask for help if they need it. And then let me say at this point that Bible Society of Kenya is available even to provide that kind of help, that someone who is going through domestic abuse and other traumatizing experiences, Bible Society of Kenya has her doors open for such individuals, and therefore feel free to refer anyone who may be needing that kind of help, or even to encourage them to seek for that help. It will be provided for them professionally. Well, we want to continue before we end our session. And Reverend, I will take it back to you and ask, you see, we have talked about how the victims can be helped, but we also have those who abuse, the perpetrators. Is there any help available for these perpetrators, or do we let them to continue doing what they do, abusing and, violating?
Thank you, Pastor Jeremy. We have talked about how to help the victims. If the victims, even the perpetrators, need help.
Yes.
Some of us do these things without knowing that we are abusing. It's normal, it's cultural for men to beat women. In most of our cultures, that is acceptable. So if that is happening, we need to let this man know that what they are doing is wrong through teachings and discussion. And it's not only the men, we are also talking about women. Maybe they think talking back, being abusive, and just being disobedient and disrespectful is okay. We need to let them know that that kind of behavior is good and it does not build that relationship. It does not build that family. So we need to, that's the first thing, we need to let that person know that what they are doing is not right. Whether it is acceptable in their culture, we need them to know that that is not right. The other thing that we need to let this person know is that they need to know the root of why they are doing that. Why are they being abusive? Why are they mistreating other people? Is it because of their upbringing? Is it because of some inadequacy in them? Why are they doing that? And try to get solutions for that. And then the other thing that we really need to know is that we need to identify the things that trigger this abusive behavior. What is it that causes you to abuse, to beat the other person? Maybe it's anger. You get worked up so fast. Maybe it's the way that person talks to you. Maybe it is that the way that person, you know, relates with people of the opposite gender. Know what it is and deal with it. This abuser should know and deal with it. And of course, we know that drugs and alcohol can also be a part or a reason for abuse. So if it is involved, then that's something that needs to be dealt with. And then, of course, they need to be talked about. They need to be talked about forgiveness. Dan talked about forgiveness in his situation. He was the victim, but even the abuser needs to know about forgiveness and how he is able to live with a partner or with a person that they are abusing. And of course, the love of Christ is over everything. We cannot overemphasize that.
Thank you. Thank you, Rev. We appreciate your responses. We are not far from ending our session this evening. But before we do that, there are a few questions that our guest, Dan, you may need to help us with. One person, Jacob Kipchilis, is asking whether there is any organization like CREW which can respond to men the way CREW responds to women who have experienced domestic abuse. Yes, Dan.
Thank you so much.
Maybe you need to say it again.
Okay, let me ask
Repeat
again.
the question, please.
Okay. This question is directed to our guest, our brother Dan. And one of our participants, our brother Jacob, is asking, is there any other organization, an organization like CREW, who responds to women who have experienced gender violence or domestic abuse? So he is asking, is there an organization that now responds to men who have experienced domestic abuse and violence? Over to you, Dan.
Okay, thank you very much, Pastor. To me, when during I was undergoing treatment, I felt we had gaps in our society whereby there's no one who was advocating about men's rights or who was there to rescue men. So that's why me as Dan, I registered an organization. It's called Dan Shisha Foundation, just to speak for men, to help these men who are silent, to create a safe space. And right now we launched a toll-free number, which is 198. This is a number whereby any man across ages, whether it's a teenager, whether it's a youth or a man in marriage, can call for counseling services. We have a lot of professional counselors who are offering the services.
So you say the number is, Dan?
1198 is a toll-free number. You are not charged anything. You just call and request to speak to a counselor. So that's
1198.
Yeah, 1198. And with the process, we want to have a center where having
you are disconnecting.
Oh, sorry. We also want to have a rescue center whereby we be rescuing these men who are in a toxic environment. Have realized, and if you offer a counseling to this man, you're expecting to go. You're expecting to go to the same environment, the same toxic environment. What we want to do, we want to rescue this man. We take him to a safe space. We offer him counseling. We train him and try to solve those underlying issues that leads to violence. So that's what we want to do. We all, before Corona, we were up with a program whereby we wanted to sensitize the society about violence. We wanted to go to the colleges, universities, churches to talk to our youth, because those are the people who are eager to get to tell them what is marriage. Because I can say, me, when I got into marriage, I never knew what marriage was. I was young. I thought that I have money, I'm working, and I'm married. So we want to tell these young boys and young men who want to get to marriage, so that at a point when, because marriage is not like a honeymoon thing, we have challenges in marriage. Unless you know how the, that's why you see a lot of cruelty in marriage. So we want them to understand what they expect in marriage, so that by the time marriage, when they have conflicts, they will be in a position to know how to approach and solve the issue. So that's what we are doing. There's a challenge. An organization, we are trying to reach out to people to support us, donors. But another challenge with the donor world is that they tell us that their policies is in women and children. So many people still believe that men don't face violence. Men are not victims. So it's a challenge, but we are trying to keep to fight on. We can help these individuals. We can help men. And I call upon any one of you who is in a position to also help. We are ready to now with you, so that you can secure this gender.
Good. Asante sana, our guest.
And maybe
We
just to
appreciate.
add there, Pastor Jeremy,
Yes, Reverend.
other organizations that I've heard that help men, there is Maendeleo ya Wanaume, and then there is FIDA, although it's known for women's rights, but it also fights for men's rights.
Okay. Asante sana. We have also shared the toll-free number that Dan has shared with us. That is 11981198. And we have also shared Bible Society of Kenya contacts. That is 0719 0719 250 559. Bible Society of Kenya mobile contacts. That is 0719 25 0559. Feel free to call that number for any referrals or for seeking for help. Indeed, we are so grateful for your active participation. Our chat is full of comments and questions, but our time will not allow us to respond to each one of the questions and also to share the comments that you have shared. But we truly appreciate your participation, your active participation. We are so grateful. Reverend Dedan, I'll be requesting you to share with us your closing remarks. And then I will ask our GS, our Bible Society of Kenya General Secretary, also to share her remarks before we wind up our session with the prayers. And I can see Reverend James Katuraku is with us. Reverend, if you don't mind, you will be closing for us with the prayers. So, Reverend Dedan, what are your closing remarks, please?
Thank you very much, Pastor Jeremy. As we have seen, domestic abuse is real, it happens, and it is killing so many people in Kenya and in the world in general. So it needs to be taken seriously. Men need to ask for help. We need to encouragement to talk to us. I can see we have many pastors in this forum. We need to reach out to men. And indeed, I know there are other people like James who have a burden for mentoring boys. They need to be mentored and to be taught how to behave as men and how to be responsible people so that they'll know how to deal with those issues. So let's take it seriously and know that we are able to help, and there is help available for men. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Reverend Dedan. We appreciate your contribution and also educating us as you facilitated this evening. Our guest, we are so grateful that you could find time to come and share your story openly. I believe your story has gone out there to help many. And we thank you so much. I don't know whether you could be having any closing remarks as we wind up our session this evening.
Okay, thank you so much. To encourage each one of us, I want to tell you that violence only thrives in silence. So the moment you are violated, then you keep quiet, the will continue to do the same. So we need to come out to share so how the perpetrators will feel threatened. And I know many people are going through violence. Let's reach out. Let's reach out. Reach out to a genuine friend. Reach out to a church leader, a pastor, to anyone there. Because I believe even sharing gives you a sigh of relief. So let's share, let's speak, and let's help those people. I know we know many people who are experiencing violence. Let's help them. Let's be our brother's keeper, let's be our sister's keeper, so that we can have a healthy society. Thank you so much. It's okay not to be okay. That's what I should tell people. It's okay not to be okay.
It is okay not to be okay. Wow, what a wonderful way to end our session. Asante sana, our brother Dan, and you are a living testimony that our God heals, not only physically, but he also heals in a broken heart. Asante sana for sharing. Thank you for accepting to come. Madam GS, kindly welcome and share your closing remarks. Over to you.
Thanks a lot, Pastor Jeremy. Mine is just to appreciate our facilitators. Thanks a lot, Reverend Dedan. And we really want to appreciate Dan for agreeing to come and share with all of us in terms of understanding that men can also be going through domestic violence. And as he has left us with the remark, it's okay not to be okay. I think it is light for people to talk, and that is what trauma healing is all about, giving you a person who can listen to your issues. I think I like the fact that he has told us silence really sometimes does not help. You might keep quiet because you are going through domestic violence, and then it ends up in a bad way, unfortunately, like his case. But we want to thank God that despite all that, there is hope, there is forgiveness, and he has been able to forgive, which actually forgiveness heals the heart. So we'll continue with our sessions next Saturday. This marks the end of domestic violence. I think now the men have appreciated that we have not forgotten them, and I have seen that appreciation. But we'll come back thinking about all these things as we look at forgiveness. How did forgiveness help Dan as a person and not even the abuser? So don't fail to join with us. Next Saturday, God willing, we'll be looking at a topic also which is very key to our society on the issue of suicide. How can we get out of this? Thanks a lot. God bless you so much. And God willing, let's meet again here on Zoom for our next session. God bless you so much.
God bless you, Madam Elizabeth. Asante sana for your able leadership that through this Bible Society of Kenya is able to reach so many. And you have seen how grateful men are that BSK thought of them. And we were able to bring our guest and also have our Reverend facilitate a topic, having their a specific perspective on men. So we are going to end our time together. Sorry, we have bypassed our time. We were to end at 8:45, but now it's past 9. Kindly forgive us. We were trying to respond to some of the issues we could not leave hanging. And as GS has just mentioned, we look forward to have you next Saturday as we address the topic of suicide. We will still use the same approach, and I believe you'll also enjoy. Feel free also to inform those in your circles whom you feel this topic would be more relevant to them. Right now, we are going to close our session with the prayers. Reverend James, if you don't mind, kindly pray for us.
Let us pray. Father, we are grateful for the great session we have had on domestic violence and abuse. We thank you for the people you lined up to share their experiences and to facilitate. Thank you for BSK for hosting this that has helped many people realize where they are and be able to think of how they can be helped and find help indeed. We ask you for your blessing upon everyone. We thank you for our brother Dan, and we ask that your healing continue to be upon his life. We thank you that you heal the brokenhearted, you heal their wounds, and you are able to sort them out. We commit our people into your hands, men and women, children, youth in this country who have experienced abuse in our families and in our relationships, that they'll find somewhere where they can be healed. We ask for blessing, we ask for grace, and we ask for protection where there is need. Open doors for healing, dear Lord. We honor you and we bless you. We ask you to bless your people who have participated and that they will be able to support and provide help when needed another time. Be glorified, for we ask this in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Amen. Amen. Asante sana, Reverend James.
Amen.
And now let me ask us to say the words of grace. You will not need to unmute, but let's just say the words wherever you are before we sign out. And now may the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, for spending this evening with us. So bye-bye, and God bless you.
Amen.
God bless.
Joining me in studio now to give us a status update on the vaccination exercise, Dr. Vanessa Aquale, the chairman of the COVID-19 Vaccine Advisory Task Force. Thank you so much for coming in. Especially when it comes to the supply of the doses. Earlier, we just reported that there is an indication, as being from the Ministry of Health, that
Thank you, Victoria, for hosting me. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to